Good afternoon, Springfield. It's Gary Bingaman here with your host, John Dieter. I'm the co-host of the show. Did I say Dieter? I was working for a guy, John Dieter, all day. It's John Dittrich. Okay. I haven't had anything to drink. I guarantee that.
Do you know where you are?
I just got here, and it was amazing, folks. I love when Springfield changes and grows. I just came over to the new bridge that goes over the railroad tracks on Chestnut Expressway. Did you get to come over that, or did you come in the back way?
Oh, I always go that way.
You always go that way.
And I'm still here on time.
That's exciting. Hey, I'm Gary with A&D Mechanical Services, your full-service plumbing and heating and air company, one of the sponsors also of the show. John. What do you think about equipment? If you had equipment that was old and you went to replace it, what kind of equipment would you look for?
New equipment.
Well, I know new equipment, but let's say you have equipment that meets the minimal federal guidelines for what can be produced, such as an 80% furnace or a 13-seer air conditioner, or you can go higher efficiencies. How would you try to decide if it was worth doing higher efficiencies?
Well, as a financial advisor, I would look at the lifetime cost of ownership.
That's an excellent answer. I may not be a financial coach, but I do know that's what you need to do. You need to look at it, and you need to look at the return for each investment that you put. If you bought an 80% furnace and you could buy a 96% furnace, do you think one of them would save you more gas over the other?
Well, yeah, I think the more efficient furnace, a furnace is going to last, what, 15, 20 years?
About 20 to 25 years.
20 to 25 years.
Yeah.
You amortize out a couple $100 different in cost.
Exactly.
I'll pay a little bit more for a more efficient furnace.
And you know what also, folks, if you're out there and you have an old system and you were to do that, you don't have to just worry about the initial cost. All you have to worry about is differential cost. If you can buy System A that's minimal and System B that's a 96% furnace, the difference between the two, let's say it's $500 even, can easily be done. But you know what else? CU will give you a rebate. So you can actually get $400 by simply buying a new furnace. So with differentials, with CU rebates, your payback's only a year or two, and then every year after that you get more.
Now, how do we get those rebates? Do you file those for us?
I file them to a certain point. You still have to put your name on them, and you can sign the checks over. No, you put on there that you want a check or you want to give it to charity. They do give you those options. I have to do a load calc, which means I actually have to figure out how much heat your house takes. If your heat needed 58,000 BTUs, we got a couple options. The furnace you got in there to start with is probably 100,000 BTUs. If I went with an 80% furnace, it would be 80,000 BTUs. If I went with a new 96, it would be 60,000 BTUs. And that means it's a full 40,000 BTUs cheaper. What does that mean? You don't believe this or not, but you pay by the therm. You pay by 100,000 BTUs of heat. The city has a very complex formula. I'm just going to give you a rough breakdown. It's approximately $1.40 per therm. A therm's roughly 100 cubic feet. Well, it is 100 cubic feet. Springfield says their gas is just a little bit hotter. And all of a sudden now, you can have that, but it will cost you a lot less. So what you are, if you're out there this year and you're needing a new furnace or you need a new air conditioner, give us a call. Let us come out and call us at 417-866-8257. And we'll come out there, and not only can I give you that, but there are a lot of other things. And I'll tell you what, you don't happen to be on propane, are you?
I'm not on propane.
You're on natural gas?
I am.
Okay, if you're on propane, I can give you a lot better savings by getting away from just straight propane, using that as a backup heat, using a heat pump. You can do it on others, and you can really make a dramatic savings with paybacks as little as a year to a year and a half. To do that. So that's what I wanted to talk about this morning, just a little bit. So if you need that, give us a call, 417-866-8257. What's all going on in your world today?
Oh, not a whole lot, Gary.
Not a whole lot, except I was late. I feel that pain, and I am so sorry.
No, I was going to yield the remainder of my time to our guest because she has such an important topic to talk about
Well,
today.
that's awesome. Guys, you don't even know who's here today unless you've been listening to
Wait,
this show.
let me say her name.
I do know her name, but you go ahead.
We're talking to Heather Rooney McBride.
See, I would have got that. From
From-
McBride and
From Rooney
McBride
McBride
and
Smith.
Smith. All right. See, I've been making sure that I can read.
I was looking at your notes actually and checking it is in fact all correct.
I do that because I don't usually wear my glasses, and so these little cards, I can't read them. So if you were to ask, that's why Heather just told us. She looked down. Here it is, and I've got giant letters so I can see it.
They are pretty giant.
They are pretty giant. You can read them from over where you're at.
I could read them from here.
You can. Hey, I will fess up and own up. I happen to be the oldest person sitting in this room many times. My eyes are not what they were when I was like 25 like Heather or
thank you.
35 like John, so to do that. But I am trying, guys. I am working at this to make sure that I enunciate and pronounce everyone's name and to do it. So you're going to give her your time today. What's going to be your subject today, Heather?
Well, hello, good afternoon. Again, my name's Heather Rooney McBride. I'm an attorney and I practice with the law firm Rooney McBride and Smith. What we're going to talk about today is estate planning geared specifically toward women and what women need to know, understand, and plan for with respect to their estate plan.
So it's all specifically designed for women. So John and I can just lean back and we don't have to listen. No,
So
I have to listen.
What
too.
I put on John's Facebook page and mine was, this is geared towards women, but it's what every woman, and every friend of a woman, spouse of a woman, relative of a woman needs to know about estate planning. So you
Right.
guys are included.
I got that now. I think we're all necessarily needing to listen to this.
Well, and what every woman's husband needs to know
Yeah.
to protect his. I shouldn't say to protect his woman, should I?
I'm comfortable with that. I hope my
protect his
husband's
women.
protecting me. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I stepped out for just no reason and bought my wife flowers last week. But
Good for you.
I'm really thinking that what you're talking about has so much more value than flowers.
Well, it does, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about statistics that are pertinent to women and important for us to be thinking about from this context. But John and I were talking before the show started, and we both have had experiences of women who do not have the knowledge or understanding of what's going on in their financial world because they've relied on their husband to do all of that for them. And while that is their choice to do as far as their marriage dynamic, it is really important for the woman to have some basic understanding of what your household and you and your husband are doing in the way of legal documents, in the way of planning for finances, retirement, long-term medical care, and so forth. Because women almost inevitably live longer than their significant other. We survive, y'all.
Is that because you live better than we do? Or
I
is
don't
that
know.
because we want to leave quickly?
I mean,
That was just a
jury's-
joke, folks.
jury's
I want
still
to
out.
stay. Yeah,
Jury's
no.
still out on that. But yeah, women live at an average of over 5 years longer than men. And that is, especially as an elderly person, a significant period of time that one needs to plan for and be thinking about, not as it's happening, but well before the point at which it's happening.
Sorry, we're fidgeting over
They're
here.
fidgety.
Well,
I don't know
and
what's happening.
You've got us thinking really strong about
They are.
our spouses.
They're deep in thought.
We're deep in thought about what we need to do. So
Right. So, and we were talking about before the show, and about a lot of marriage dynamics can be different.
Yes.
I mean, we could have, and you talked about it. I'm reading ahead in your notes. Sorry.
That's fine.
Well, we're talking about different marriage dynamic, and maybe you could be a single mom. Okay, that's a marriage dynamic where it takes planning, or you could be a married person where the husband takes care of everything.
Right.
All the financials, if you're in that dynamic. Or a more equal marriage, or even a marriage where the woman is the professional and is taking care of the finances for the family.
Yeah, all of those scenarios are really important. 84% of primary custody parents are women, whether that's a single mother or a divorced situation. Women generally in single parent households are the persons who are raising the children and have custody of the children. And so making sure that you, as a single parent, have made plans for what's even going to happen with your children, who's going to be the guardian or conservator of your kiddos upon your death or if something were to happen to you, as well as your estate. That's really important. And I also work with women who are the primary breadwinners of their household, right? We're in a sort of different era to a certain extent where we have a growing percentage of men that are stay-at-home dads, right? That 80s Mr. Mom thing. But in those scenarios, women are the individuals who are making the cash, right, for the household and supporting the household. And so they too need to be prepared for the prospect of, in business world, what we call succession planning. What's going to happen if I can no longer support my household, and how do we take care of that possibility?
So that's not only death, but that would be incapacitation.
That's right.
Or some of the other things that can happen and do happen to so many people where you just can't take care of your kids.
Yes.
To do that. So I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and take a break right now?
Well,
We'll
why
come
don't
back.
you talk about some sponsors?
That's what I was going to do. I was going to talk about sponsors on the front each side here. So
All right, you just
we're going to
checked
take a break.
everybody.
Oh, you thought I didn't? Okay. I really want to stress to you guys today, you listen to John every week on the phone, but it may be time to give John a call and talk to him about your financial situations, because John can definitely help you out. Mr. Dittrich does a wonderful job. His phone number is 417-768-3345, 417-768-3345, and he will help you with all of your financial situations.
I think it's 763-3345.
Did I put so? It is 763. It's been written over a couple of times, and I will admit it could have gone either way.
And
Yeah,
he
we
doesn't
could-
have on his glasses.
This whole radio program could be a shot game.
Probably is with me. They're all sitting around right now going, what can he mess up next? No, John's number is 763-3345. Give him a call. It's really nice to listen to him on the radio. It's really nice to get some of these ideas on how to make your money go a lot better when you sit down with him in person. You bring to him what you have, and he will help you out in a tremendous way.
Hey, and this radio show is they don't pay me to be on the air,
They don't?
So,
You're not a paid.
if
You're not
we're going
paid for
to
this.
continue giving everybody all this great advice. The only way I can make money is if somebody calls me at 763-3345.
That's exactly what you need. And we even talked about how you get paid for your services and the differences between you and these other people. So guys, if you've got financial questions, if you're in planning, and you said it doesn't matter what age it is, you need to get on to for your financial future.
Yeah, we'll start you out, just starting out in life and trying to set up a plan, or if you're retired and you have.
So you can help us
about your
retain some of that
lasting.
money we've made?
Yeah, how long can your money last in retirement?
That's
a very important subject that we can cover.
That's fantastic. What else? We got another sponsor. Her name's Marilee Doherty. She's with Clarity Insurance and Financial Services. Her phone number is 417-887-6261. You guys, you heard her on the radio. If you watched the news the other night, you got to see her on the news. She was talking about protecting yourselves with data theft. 417-887-6261. She does home and auto insurances for you. She saved John a lot of money. She can save you money too. You need to recall.
She'll be back here on the 15th
That's
to
right.
talk about disaster preparedness.
Was that her next one? That's going to be really good.
Timely.
Folks, I'm going to tell you what. Every time you listen to this show, I sit here and I learn as much or more than most people. I do, because these people are experts after the show's over, I got a few seconds. I can talk to them. I can ask them questions. You guys need to call in. If you have any questions, you going to take questions today?
Of course I will, yes.
Okay, if you have any questions, if you're a female and you want to know about this setting up your trust, why don't you...
You can call if you're not female. That's fine, too.
I should have made it that way. But, well, shot. You have it set up so that if you're out there, you're like me, you have a wife, you want to make sure that she's well taken care of. To do that, she's a primary earner along with me in the household, so I would not want to lose either one, but I would love to make sure that she's set up. Let's go ahead to the commercial. You're listening to It's Your Money Radio, where you can make more money, save more money, and have more money. You're listening to John Dittrich today, and our special guest is Heather Rooney McBride. This segment now should be talking a lot about trust.
Yes, sir. All right, here we go.
And so to do that, and so you've been starting with trust, and where do you want to go to next? Here we just started this.
So we're going to talk on a broader subject than trust, but it includes trust. The concept of estate planning, right? What is that? And from my perspective, and I think John's too, the concept of estate planning really involves a collaboration between me, your attorney, John, your financial planner, your CPA, and probably also your insurance agent and your banker to try to orchestrate the legal documents, the accounts, your business life to cooperate with each other, so to speak, so that you both avoid probate and ensure that your wishes are carried out both upon your incapacity and your death. And what we're going to spend most of the time, I think, talking about today is certain issues pertinent to estate planning that are important for women to be thinking about, considering, and planning for. You know, I mentioned before our break that women live more than 5 years on average longer than their partner. Men just don't survive as long. And so it's important to be thinking about that because a lot of times women cannot rely on money that their spouse had for that lengthy period of time, right? Women are experiencing, especially in this day and age, a much longer retirement usually than men. They have more prolonged medical care needs often, also because they're living longer. And this was an interesting statistic that I found today. Women over the age of 65 in this country outnumber men of that age by nearly 6 million people.
Wow.
Yeah,
6
that is
million
a wow.
people. So this is a huge category, right, of people that oftentimes, because they are retired, because they have medical needs, and maybe because they failed to plan, are in a much lower income bracket, where before, hadn't they done that collaborative estate planning that I just mentioned, they might have been able to plan and allow themselves a more comfortable standard of living. Women, unfortunately, also in this country, same job, could even be significantly less pay, right? So women who work full-time over the course of their lives are earning significantly less dollars than men. And as we all know, we pay Social Security based on the dollars that we make. And so women, as far as contributions, are generally contributing less than men towards Social Security benefits.
Right, which makes their benefits lower.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. And additionally, I found this really troubling when I was researching and preparing for today. Women are significantly less likely to participate in retirement plans or profit sharing plans through their employers. I'm not really sure why that is. Perhaps because of that statistic I mentioned before our break, that women are often the single parent runner of the household, and so they really need to take home that income. But it is part of my mission, if you will, to make sure that women are having more of that long-term planning goal, so that we engage in both legal planning and the financial planning. Over half of divorced or widowed women remarry. Now, the male statistic, I know you're going to be shocked, is much higher than half. But
We're just helpless.
y'all need,
we are
yeah,
helpless.
that's right. Y'all need to have somebody to help take care of you. But women do frequently get remarried. So we're also dealing with a lot of blended family experiences, right? With children from prior marriages, with ex-spouses and so forth. And so it's really important from an estate planning perspective, and we'll talk about a couple of examples that I've run into during the course of my practice, that in that scenario we are planning for what that married couple wants to happen with respect to the surviving spouse, and what that married couple wants to happen with respect to their children, right? Their biological or adopted children that often are not the biological or adopted children of their spouse.
Oh yeah, I can see that definitely with our
Yeah.
society today and all of the things that have gone on in the last. I'm sure it's gone on a long time, but as I've come through, it's been a dramatic, dynamic shift in how families
Yes.
are and how blended they are.
Very true, very true. Another kind of cool statistic that I found, women are the leaders as far as small business in this country. So of about, we'll say out of 15 million businesses, almost half of that, small businesses, almost half of that number is owned by women or managed by women. So we have a lot of women entrepreneurs who may not be super wealthy, but their wealth does come from their small business. And estate planning involves business succession planning, right? If I, God forbid, drop dead tomorrow, who's going to run my law firm, right? Who's going to do that for me? And get payroll done and make sure my employees are taken care of, and talk with my clients to frankly inform them that I'm not around.
And then to value your company with your children
That's right.
and everyone else.
That's right. Almost 60% of women work in professional occupations. Architecture, law, medicine, education, real estate. And some of those categories that I just described are what we as attorneys would call high-risk jobs,
What
right?
does that mean, high risk?
Yeah, interesting.
I would think that, deep sea, those fat fishermen.
I think
Well, the
were-
ones that are
they
on those
definitely high
shows
risk.
that show us
Yeah.
how dangerous it is to work.
Yeah, so
So-
high risk in probably insurance world means something perhaps different slightly than in law world. When we say high risk positions or jobs, we're talking about likelihood of getting sued or a demand being made that you're about to get sued, right? So doctors get those kinds of letters a lot. Attorneys get those kind of letters from time to time. Real estate agents who somebody thinks messed up something get those kind of letters. So those type of professionals in particular need to be engaging in certain type of protections, legal protections, to make sure that their assets are not available to potential creditors or people that would try to sue them. This is the coolest, I think, statistic that I've got for you guys today. Women control 3/4, 75% of the total wealth, financial wealth in this country. Now, control does not mean own, right?
But they control it. Yeah,
Control
I got
does
you.
not mean own, but control means that they're managing it. It means that they're the administrator. We're the detail-oriented folks, right? Who people want handling a lot of that wealth. So with that comes again the need for succession planning and making sure that if female who's controlling the money is no longer with us, surprisingly tomorrow, right?
Right.
We need to have a plan for what's going to happen with that fund or that estate or that trust.
So is there, you've been giving us some wonderful figures. How about when it comes to the amount of men versus the amount of women who have gone through and set up this, I like your idea, this
Estate
cooperative
planning.
corporate estate planning, yes.
Yes. I don't have a specific number, but generally in my practice and research, women are much less likely
Okay.
to initiate an estate planning meeting, to call an attorney, or to call a financial planner. I think it's maybe becoming culturally less this way, but my grandparents, for example, man, my grandma never went onto a car lot ever in her life. Not ever in her life, right? She drove whatever my grandpa bought for her. And so with that comes sort of a level of trust that at times cannot be helpful to the woman, right?
Right.
And so I want women to be engaging in open conversations with their partners about, what are we doing about this? Do you have a will? Maybe I need to have a will. Where do we have all of our assets, right? So in my household, I'll just share this, my husband pretty much handles our money, our accounts, he writes our checks. And in large part, that's because I'm the crazy busy person of the group, right? But we call it our quarterly financial meeting. And we go to dinner and we chat about what's going on, and I look at some statements, and we have sort of a marital business meeting, if you will. Those are not always rosy, rainbows and butterflies, right? Occasionally, and we're both attorneys, so you can imagine.
Oh, yes.
Occasionally, that gets super fun. But engaging in dialogue and open disclosure, or if that is not workable in your relationship or your marriage, engaging in self-help, to make the phone call, to come and talk to me and say, I feel like I need to have some documents to help protect myself, is really, really important.
Well, how does this conversation begin for a woman? Okay, now let's take one of the examples, and I think it's predominant. You say that mostly it's the men who initiate estate planning services. So how does a woman approach this topic and say, you're right, I need to be involved?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hard one, and as one might imagine, this is not my marital dynamic, so I will try to anticipate how this could go. But I really think if you are, and my mom used to always tell me, to avoid a fight, right, I'm going to make my husband think that it was his idea, right?
Wise woman.
Wise woman, right?
Yes.
And you also draw a lot of bees with honey rather than vinegar, right? So I think approaching it from a sort of suggestion, honey, have you thought about, have you talked to anybody about this? To get the information, right? Because your husband might have an estate plan. He might have accounts that you haven't been told about. So getting the startup information, and then maybe, do you think we should go and talk to somebody together, just so I, really understand what it is that we're talking about here, and particularly I think spouses are more open to hearing that question when we're getting older. Or when we maybe have been diagnosed. I have frequent meetings with clients where the husband has just been diagnosed with a really serious illness. And so now suddenly at that point we're in a big rush to make sure that everything is taken care of, as they should be. But I do not want that couple to have to be coming to meet with me when they really need to be spending time with each other and, checking off the bucket list, right, during that period of time. So my goal is for everybody to have had that conversation in whatever way you need to in your marriage and in your relationship, to try to come and see me well before the serious illness scenario.
So you're becoming not only the attorney, but now you're becoming an educator to the people of Springfield, the people that can listen to us, about what you really need to get out and think about and do.
That is about the best compliment you could have given me. I come from a long line of educators. I'm the first attorney in my family, so me not having been a teacher was, I think, instead being a lawyer was maybe slightly disappointing. But yes, I really like teaching, and I do think it's really important that there be an element of public service in any licensed profession. And I take it really seriously to spend a little bit of time to talk with someone, to give them advice within the confines of what I ethically can tell them. And that is why our initial estate planning consultation is free. So I will spend time with you and chat with you and give you my advice about what I think needs to happen for your particular situation. And hopefully you elect to retain me and hire me to prepare that work for you. And if not, you've been more educated about what you need to be thinking about.
So as we get there, can we take a minute for a starting point?
Sure.
Do you think it's to call you? I mean, you know, you were saying your banker, your now we're dealing with 3 or 4 entities here.
Yeah.
So do you believe it's like starting with you to help the ball rolling to put together, or where should you go?
A lot of my clients do start with me, but I don't know for sure that would be a necessity. What is helpful about when you go to meet with me, and probably also with John, is I have a questionnaire that helps guide you through who you are, what you have, how you own what you have, and what you want to do with what you have. And a lot of people have not really gone through that and put that in that type of an orderly fashion ever before. And so once they get that form, clients then are going to often call their banker, they're going to call their insurance agent, they're going to call John and say, can you tell me every account that I have with you and what's happening with it? To put all of that on the paper, on the form, to fill that out. So usually connecting with me or with my paralegal to get the documentation that I am going to need to have that initial consultation with you is a really good starting point to kind of organize your estate planning life.
Yeah, and I'd take that a step further and say, as all these people that you mentioned, the bankers, the financial advisors, the insurance people, the attorneys, they should all be wanting the same thing for their clients.
Yes.
So I always talk to my clients about estate planning, about insurance for risk management, to make sure, because last thing I want to see, especially because my compensation depends on their money growing, the last thing I want to see is a catastrophe that's uninsured, that all of a sudden their money's gone.
Right.
I mean, they've lost their wealth, I've lost the client, and there's not much we can do at that point. So all of these different professionals should all be saying the same thing, and it's just a question of, can we all get together and solve these problems?
So when you move forward in this, do you help them? I mean, for a long time, I wouldn't add up my retirements, and I do have more than one. I have 3 or 4 plans. I finally started doing it. I actually felt a little better about where I was
Yes.
than worse. But you tend to get fear. You know what I'm saying? Can you help people get over that fear? That's what I'm asking when we come to talk to you.
I try really hard to make the initial appointment one that is very personable. And you know, very few law firms that handle estate planning do this, but every client that comes to our office with an estate planning need has a in-person meeting with an attorney. So a lot of times you only ever get to meet with a legal assistant or a paralegal until you actually are there to sign documents. And my goal is to make sure that you know me and feel comfortable with me, and that I also know you and understand the dynamics of what's going on with your life and your assets, so that I can help you sort of work through those issues. And you know, this is not a super fun meeting, right? This is some hard stuff to think about, and hypotheticals that I have to pose and say, if this happens, what do you want to happen? Those questions are difficult. We have a lot of Kleenex in my office, and we spend a lot of time allowing clients to take a minute to think about it, right? So if I pose a question and they're not sure what they want to do, my paralegal puts that down on what I call their to-do list for them to think about.
Yeah. Hey, if you're out there, you would like to have a question, either way, why don't you give us a call at 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056, 862-9977. And just give us a call right now, and you can get a question in. We've still got plenty of time to do that. Can we go ahead? We'll just take another break. Some of our people need to be spoken about today. We need to do that. Dr. Michael Miller, he was here last week. Guys, I really had a great time. Every time I come together, I really have a fantastic time. I leave here knowing something else. So you need to do it. Dr. Michael Miller, he is at the Family Back and Neck Care. He's 889-2225. Yeah, he's located down on East Republic Road, 889-2225.
If you missed that show, we were talking about how good bacon is for you.
Oh yes, it was the most amazing for a man, and
Free
women
dudes.
must like bacon
Oh, I
too.
love me some bacon.
You love you some bacon.
So if you love bacon and you want more of it in your diet, listen to our show. It's on Facebook.
Yeah, it is.
At Your Money Radio. Search at Your Money Radio, and you can see all. Yeah, we're on live now, and all of our shows are recorded, and we post them, and you can.
Oh yeah, I left here hungry last week because we were talking about, and let me tell you, folks, you really need to listen to these shows, especially stuff like that. Today's is so crucial and vitally important. Today's show.
So 862-9977 if you have a question for Heather Rooney McBride about estate planning, especially for women. And did you have another sponsor before that?
Yeah, let's talk about Scrivener Solutions. We haven't talked about
Gayla.
Gayla today. To do that, it's Gayla Scrivener. She's with Scrivener Solutions. Let her and her team of virtual assistants help you. She helps out with this show. I know she does. She personally is involved with our company. She helps us all the time. You can do great things. She's doing her work right now from being somewhere else, and so it's really exciting to do that. If you go to scrivenersolutions.com, you can download an informational tutorial, a little booklet that will tell you the 5 things you must know before you hire a virtual assistant.
Right.
And so you definitely need to do that. Why don't we go ahead and go to break? We'll come back in just a minute. You need to talk to Heather today. Give her a call at 862-9977. You're listening to It's Your Money Radio, where you can make more money, save more money, have more money for all of your financial goals. And today we're here with Heather Rooney McBride. We've been talking about some things. She's put it out for women. But I've been listening because I think it can go with everyone.
I'm glad you're listening, Gary.
No. You've been talking about us dying younger. My wife and I are the same age, so that's.
She's likely to outlive you.
I know she is,
Your
and
wife-
I've done that. Yeah.
Your wife needs to schedule an appointment.
Yes, she does. She does. Oh, that's for certain.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to all things estate planning and what women need to know. So we talked about the difficulty in having the conversation or even in picking up the phone to call me or send me an email through my website. And let me give you that address. It is www.rmsattorneys.com. Please contact us. Our phone number is 417-708-9681. And we'd love to talk to you. But if you don't make that call, if you don't have an estate plan set up, if you're listening and you are in the state of Missouri, the legislature has already decided what's going to happen.
You mean they got a plan
They
for
have
us?
a plan for you.
The government has
The
a plan
government
for
has
you.
a plan. They're going to do something with your money,
They're
right?
going to
In
do
your
something
estate.
with your
Yeah.
money, with your estate. That's exactly right. So Missouri statutes provide that if there are no surviving children of the person who passes away, but there is a surviving spouse gets 100%. Surviving spouse gets everything. If there is a surviving spouse and the children of the person who passed away are also the children of the surviving spouse, then surviving spouse gets $20,000 off the top. And if there's anything left over, surviving spouse gets 50%, and kiddos divide up the other 50%.
Wait a second. Does it matter how old the kids are?
It does not. Does not
So
matter.
if you happen to hit 80, your wife happens to be right there, you pass away, then they're going to give 20 to her, half of the rest, and your kids are going to get the other half.
That's right. That's right. And then,
Whether you want them to or not.
that's
Well,
right.
and that's, we're not just talking money, we're talking about all assets.
That's
right?
exactly right. So not just cash, not just liquid. We're talking real estate, the contents of your home. A lot of people have gun collections, art collections, all that stuff is what we're talking about. And then if the person who has passed away has children from a prior marriage, okay, then that $20,000 goes away. And it's divided straight up, 50% to the surviving spouse and the remaining 50% divided amongst
all the
kiddos.
children. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and Well, to you that may sound perfectly great and you're fine with that plan. The other issue is that if you don't have an estate plan and you're gonna go with what the legislature has decided is your estate plan, you gotta go through probate. And that's an expensive venture and it's a matter of public record. Not everybody wants all their stuff out there for nosy people to be able to see.
What about blended families? What if you have your kids, her kids, and our kids?
That's exactly right. So and that is most of the time in that scenario, in that blended family, the surviving spouse will only get 50%, and the biological or adopted children of the person who passed away will divide up the other 50%.
Okay. So if the wife had kids coming into the marriage, those kids don't get anything.
That's right.
Even if they were there for a long time and that wasn't the intention, that's just what the law is going to say if you don't have
Yeah.
anything on paper.
If the person who passed away never legally adopted those stepchildren, then yeah, those stepkids don't get anything. Which may be what you want to happen, and for a lot of people is not what they want to happen,
No.
right? Particularly if stepchildren have been in the household for a long period of time. A lot of people want those stepchildren, they consider them their kids, even if they're not legally their children, and want to be able to provide for them. The state's not gonna do that. So you're gonna have to come up with, draft with an attorney licensed to practice in the state where you live, an actual estate plan will trust something along those lines or a combination thereof. So let's talk a little bit about what a will is.
Yeah, can we take care of all of these things with a will?
Maybe is my answer. So a lot of law firms will push people, regardless of their asset level and regardless of what they want to do with their estate, into drafting a trust. And trusts are a slightly more expensive venture, right, than just a will. In my practice, if I can have you just in a will and prepare that for you along with what we call non-probate transfers, I'm going to do that. What's a non-probate transfer?
I know.
There. Yay!
do.
I'm so glad. So for all of you out there who may not know, a non-probate transfer is a mechanism whereby we can set up an account, a vehicle, and in some cases real estate to automatically transfer to someone else when you pass away. So TOD on a car is the easiest
This way.
example.
So you
Right?
should do that TOD. I usually do, so.
Not a lot of people do,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
good.
Well, you
right?
know, at least it's something they've been asking when you
That's
go
true.
in now to get your license.
That's
They've
true.
been asking you, so now you know what that means. Guys, we're running out of time tonight, right now, but I'll tell you what, you need any questions, call 417-708-9681. You can call up, that's Heather Rooney McBride, that's at her law firm, she can help you out, we can do that. We'll just tie up a few things. We'll be looking forward to the next time you come
Yes,
back
sir.
and to do
We have
that.
a lot more to cover. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
No,
have
that's
a
okay.
lot more, and I'm sorry that we seem not to ever reach the end. That's probably a good thing. If you need some education, and I mean that, you're a great educator.
Thank you.
People should learn and do that. Dr. Michael Miller, 889-2225. Marilee Doherty with Clarity Insurance and Financial Services, 887-6261. A&D Mechanical, 417-866-8257. But above all, John Dittrich, and you can get, that's right, John, and his phone number is 417-763-3345. And next week you said we'll be back with
Next week, Dr. Michael Miller.
Dr. Michael Miller. That's right, the month's changing, isn't it? It's a new
It's
month.
a new month. And
It's exciting. He was here last week because you guys switched around. So, all right, guys, you all have a wonderful and great week, and come back, listen to us next week. We need some questions, and remember, let's give Heather Rooney McBride a call. Let's find out what it is, ladies, men. Listen, thank you.